Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to After Wine School. I am Keith Wallace, and you are Alana Zerbe. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Keith.
You know what we're doing today?
Tell me.
We're doing the psychology of wine. Yeah. We're talking about what's in your head, not my head, because no one wants to see that shit. It is fucking scary. So we'll talk about that in another podcast.
Yeah, that's a horror show we can't handle here.
No,
absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, we're talking about the psychology of wine, and I'm really excited about this.
Yes.
Because we're going to share with you a lot of the things that we do in our day-to-day, in our full-time life, in constructing wine classrooms, teacher trainings, experiences you've had as a winemaker and consultant. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to share some secrets with you about what's going on, the subtext anytime that you are drinking and enjoying wine.
Folks, have you ever been to a wine tasting and you had the most amazing wine you ever tasted? You bought a case of it, you brought it home, you poured it, you tasted it, and you hated it? It's not you. It's not you. Your brain actually edited that wine. It rewired that wine and rewired your own brain.
It's so true, Keith. Yes. Oh. Appearance versus reality. This was, I hate to brag, but when I was a high school senior, I was in...
Whoa, wait. Okay, wait a minute. Does it have to do with the college football team?
I wish. Latin tutor and library aide. I wish. No, I was at home Friday nights, believe me, and Saturday nights. But I was in advanced English with Dr. Rempe, and he taught us Shakespeare, and he taught us one of the great themes in Shakespeare, which was appearance versus reality.
Wow.
And Dr. Rempe's been on my mind. I've actually been trying to do some lucid dreaming to recall. He had us do a song with choreography before every class. And it was so brilliant because it primed us to get out of our heads. You know, we're baby Gen Xers obsessed with not being a poser, not being fake. But yet he was calling on us to dive into these great works of art. Anyway, he's been on my mind. If anybody from Bishop McDevitt High School in the late 90s remembers Dr. Rempe's dance, I'll continue to try to do some lucid dreaming and have it come back to me, but I would love to know what that dance was because it was so smart. But he taught us about appearance versus reality, how something can be right in front of us, and just because of context and history and our own desires, we completely change the story. And I think in the wine world, there's no better instance of this happening than the Judgment of Paris. This is something when I teach my level 3 students, they love hearing about it. You can hear a pin drop when I talk about this. We've even designed a whole class, the Judgment of Paris, and other people have done this too, because it is so fascinating to hear how these French wine judges were in Paris in the 1970s when French wine, there was no parallel. There was nothing better than fine French wine. And that was the history and culture they were steeped in. And as they are tasting Napa Chardonnay and Napa Cabernets, we know from George Tabor's real-time note-taking, he was the only journalist who was there that day from Time magazine. He went on to write the best book on the subject, the definitive account called The Judgment of Paris. His signed copy, one of my treasured possessions for sure. But he took notes as the judges were saying things like, vive la France. This was all they could think that they were drinking. Of course, we now know what was in their glasses was in fact fine California wine. So it's very, very powerful, the way that our mind can trick us.
Absolutely. You are just going to you are going to rewrite the world. You got to rewrite what you're tasting, in fact. This is not surprising to me at all. And this is not just anecdotal evidence. This is actually science. One of my favorite studies, Caltech and Stanford did this joint study a few years back. And what they did was for patients, they would put them into an MRI machine. And they would try two wines. They would try a $10 bottle and then a $90 bottle. When they tried the $10 bottle, it showed that they were enjoying themselves, like you would expect, like just exactly expect. When they tried that $90 bottle of wine, everything just lit up. Like they were having an incredible experience. It was clear they were having an undeniable experience. But what the researchers didn't tell anybody was that these were the same wines. They were the exact same wines that the exact same people tried, just with a different context. Just this is 10, this is 90. That's how dramatic the effect is. And I cannot stress to you how much this affects us, but also the market, the wine market in general.
Yes. So one of my favorite things to do is teach people how to be a wine instructor. And what we really focus on is what I like to call the silent work of being a wine instructor, because it's not about knowing everything. It's not even about having the best palate or the best wines. It's about creating the right environment. And I think the greatest affirmation of this is when people have told me that wine actually tastes better at the wine school, because so much has gone in to orchestrating this experience for people that they don't even realize it. So two things there, and I talk about this in my wine instructor training. Number one, controlling negativity. There is nothing stickier or heavier than negativity. And unfortunately, I think it is just generally cultural, or I don't know, a social idea that people have, that if they are critical, if they share something negative, that what it is demonstrating to others around them is that they have higher sensitivity, or they are more discerning, that they have
Yes.
better taste. They are in some ways elevating themselves. So this power of negativity is something that in a classroom you really have to control for. You need to know who others in the classroom are going to be paying attention to, because they are going to be having an outsized effect. So part of the silent work of creating the right environment is taking this all into account and seamlessly integrating things. So it just seems that like, oh, that problem went away. It
Right.
just kind of solved itself. Things don't just solve themselves.
That's right. What I usually do, one of the greatest controls I use in the classroom to snuff that before it even happens, would be to say, disliking something just shuts off your ability to perceive things. You're actually doing yourself a disservice by saying, I dislike something. It also shows that you are not actually critically thinking about what is in front of you. I usually say that.
That's a life lesson, by the
Yes.
way.
Oh, yes.
That's a life
Oh,
lesson.
yeah.
It will make your world so much smaller.
Oh, it does. It cuts off, every time you say you don't like something, it cuts off experiences. Like it's yes, thank you. Or why did this make me feel weird? Right? Why do I not like this? Or why was my instinct saying, oh, yuck? Right? Why? Ask that question first, because you don't know what it is. It just might be that, it's just something that hits you in a weird way. I swear to God, running wine classes and running a wine school for so long, like I can pinpoint when someone doesn't like something, it's because of something in their past. When I'm in the middle of my foundation program, doing a component class, there are people who I'm we're working together hand in hand, trying to say, why don't you recognize, or why can't you identify roses? And it'll always come out to be something like, my mother died and roses were her favorite.
my
Oh,
gosh.
things like that. It always comes, like, I have to do like 90-second psychologist, like to figure out why someone's not or someone doesn't like something, can't smell it. It's always something like that. You got to break through. Yeah, it's always the saddest lives of people who say, I don't like things, or I don't want to do that because I don't think that's cool, or that's not prestigious enough, or whatever it may be. Yeah.
And talk about prestige bias.
yeah. That's true. Because this is something that happens all the time. So prestige is that thing. Now, if you think it's prestigious, like I talked about in the beginning, if you think it's expensive, you're going to like it.
Mm-hmm.
If you think it's prestigious, you're going to like it. There's ways of actually identifying this. For instance, if I stand up in a suit and tie in a class and say, this is a great wine. You should love this. Everyone will love it. If a bottle, you don't even have to have somebody there just saying, this is lovely. You can have a bottle. If it's heavy, if it has a beautiful, expensive gold or silver label, if it has like etching or some other anything on the bottle itself, you're gonna take that and say, oh, this is great. Like, you're gonna look at this bottle and you're gonna say, oh, this is worth $100. I'm gonna buy it. And then you're gonna take it home because you spent $100 on it. You think this has to be good. And you pour it like, oh, this is amazing. Just that alone. It doesn't have to be good in that bottle. And I can tell you, as a winemaker, the times when I knew that I had to have substandard product, I was always grateful working at Napa that our wine was going into a very fancy bottle. Because I knew that even if it wasn't the best vintage I ever did, I knew that people are still going to love it and we weren't going to hear any complaints. Because, yeah, it's just in a nice bottle. And it's amazing how powerful that is. Prestige is one thing, but social influence, right? It doesn't have to even be a thing. It doesn't even have to be a thing. It could be just a person. And it doesn't have to be, even that person doesn't have to be in front of you. Your brain can be controlled like a cult member by a dude who writes a magazine review. It happens. This happened. This was the 90s and the early aughts. This dude named Robert Parker, some of you know them, some of you don't. You know, if you're my age, you know him. Because he was the most important person in wine for decades. What did he do? He wrote wine reviews about wines he liked or didn't like. That's it. That's all he did. The entire wine buying market in America just started buying the wines that Robert Parker liked. He thought they were 95-point wine. They all bought it. If he thought they were not good, they didn't buy it at all. It was insane to watch this happen. It was such a big effect. I mean, we call it the Parker effect, but it actually changed not just people's buying habits, but how wineries and winemakers made wine. That's power. That is a level of social influence that was off the charts. Now we're at that point where people can actually start making up their own minds again, and people are, and that's fantastic. At the school, because we started in that Parker era, I swear, I always wanted to be the anti-Parker. I wanted in our classrooms to make sure that people never, ever were influenced by me or anyone else. The classroom itself, lovely. But we always wanted to make sure you could make up your own mind. Because it's true, like one of my favorite things to do is show people like this overblown luxury wine that really shouldn't be $200. And showing them a $20 bottle that is fantastic. And having them experience that side by side and making their own assessment. And only after class, we tell them, hey, well, that one was $200. People love that. It changes how people think. It allows people to have their own discernment and understanding about what wine is. That's what we want. That's my whole goal, is not to have people being led. And I think that's a big difference between us and a lot of other things. Mm-hmm. Even wine books, I gotta say, a lot of wine books just say, oh, this is what's good, this is what's bad. No. We'll tell you what's there and let you decide.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about some cognitive tricks.
Oh.
Because there is a lot that goes into not just what I call the silent work of teaching wine, but constructing wine classrooms too. So
oh, yes.
There are some famous cognitive tricks in wine. And if you've been around long enough, you've encountered one of them. There's a famous French experiment where they dyed white wine with red dye and had sommeliers on record describing beautiful plum and dark fruit notes in the wine, never mentioning anything stone fruit, citrus, maybe tropical, things that you would anticipate with aromatic profile of a white wine. So we know that's a famous one. There's another famous one, this has been done to me, where you have a lineup of 3 wines and 2 of them are the exact same. And your brain is so primed to give 3 different readings because it's 3 different wines in front of you. And it's absolutely shocking that 2 of them are the exact same.
It happens all the time. Visual cues are so important. So just having 3 glasses saying, hey, they could all be the same wine and your brain would want to notice different things. So obviously it's something that we train people for. And that's part of the foundation, the L2 program that I focus on, is break that anticipation that red wine is always red. Because I've done so many different studies on this. If I give you a glass of Chardonnay, here you go. And then I pour you a glass of the exact same wine, but I tinted red. You don't know that's the same wine. It tastes exactly the same, but it's red. You are going to think it's a different wine. You're going to describe it differently. Red fruit, rich, tannic, even though there's no tannins at all. It's mind blowing. So this is something that we work on, and we have a great way of doing this. I can't tell you because that's part of the class secret of how we do this. But yeah, to break sommeliers of this cognitive trait, this instinct. But as a winemaker, I know this on that hand because I am always making sure that my red wines have massive pigmentation. And I'll actually add extra enzymes into the fermentation to make sure that I extract as much pigment as possible. That's how people, when they look at a red wine, they think, oh, it's expensive. Or like, oh, darker it is, the richer and more expensive it should be. Yeah, it's something that, yeah, that's psychology. And just knowing that you do this is really important. If you know you do it, that's the first defense against actually the dark arts, right? That's what I'm giving you here. Defense against the dark arts.
Yes.
Yes.
2 things on that.
Yes.
So number 1, knowing the dark arts, knowing what is going on in your environment that can influence you. So I have an example. On a recent birthday, I was in a city that I love, and it was my birthday. So drinking had commenced with lunch, and I was walking around, stumbled on in a little wine, it wasn't even a wine shop, it was a gourmet shop. And they happened to have an Alsatian winemaker there pouring his wines. And so I have such good memories of Alsace. And I knew these wines were not amazing, but I insisted on tasting through all of them. And I purchased several, and I knew as I was purchasing them, what I was exchanging currency for was the experience.
Yes.
And that when I got home, these wines were not wines that I was going to break out to my big wine snob friends and say, oh, I discovered this and you're going to be blown away. No. I knew it was about the experience and extending that experience. That's what I was doing.
Exactly. And I bet you weren't even drinking glasses. You probably were drinking little plastic cups.
Oh my gosh, Keith. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, because so that's how these things are. And you love it more. It tastes great.
Yeah.
You take it home. It's like, yeah, you know that you have actually primed your own brain. Like, you know what's going to happen. You know that there's a little bit of prestige bias. There's an influencer effect going on. You're doing it. And you think, I'm okay with this. And yeah, and you're just enjoying the situation and then extending it more. But also at the same time, it's a different environment. And environment matters so much. And like, you think about going to a restaurant, right? How beautiful it is. But think about actually the food as it's served, right? It's that perfect placement of the entree. It just, everything looks perfect. And when you eat it, it's just amazing. But then if you actually didn't finish it and you take it home with you, it's in that little box, and you eat it, you're like, it's good, but not really that good. What was I thinking? The appearance is everything. This is
Set and setting.
Set and setting, baby. Yeah, it's not just for hallucinogenic drugs, people. All right. So I designed wine schools, right? One of the things of running a wine school means that I had to design them because certain things matter when you're tasting wines. Now, think about what the perfect setting is. It's actually when you're calm, when you feel good, but you're alert, right? How do you get there? It's all lots of wood and glass, and it's temperature controlled, where it's always 70 degrees. And it's always around 60% humidity. Every surface is wood. Oh, there's also brick in there. It's a beautiful, like, unfinished brick. And all the tables are wood and handmade, but they're all classroom tables. And the chairs, and this is the most important thing, the chairs are uncomfortable. Everyone complains about it, but they don't realize it's a part of the trick that we do. Part of the set and setting. And you know what the best chairs are? Pews. I know, having grown up in the church, my father's a minister, knowing that those pews, oh my God, after 90 minutes, they hurt, but you're really focused. That's what you want. So even the lighting, there's no blue light anywhere. So it's quiet. It's perfectly soundproof. And these things all matter. And what it does is it reduces your anxiety from the outside. The outside world has already disappeared. You're within 5 minutes. You don't notice, you don't realize that you are actually on 22nd Street in Philadelphia, downtown. You have no idea. You could be anywhere in the world. And that brings everyone down to a calm place, alert place. that everything tastes better.
And also, I think it's really important that there is nary a twisting vine or a grape bunch in sight.
Yes.
That standard issue tasting room or wine cellar decor that doesn't exist in the classrooms you design.
Nope.
And it helps so much because we've all seen that a million times. And when you walk into a place and you see that, it immediately puts you in an old frame of mind. Whereas you present people with a blank canvas, you kind of hold negative space. There are places for your eyes to rest. And I think that makes all the difference.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. No kitsch, man. No wine kitsch. Because no one wants...
word art.
Yeah. Yeah, I live life, laugh. What is that? Dumpster bath? Oh, I hate it so much, obviously. Now, what's the goal of a wine shop? It isn't to make you comfortable. It's actually make you buy things. And who is the largest wine buyer in America, percentage-wise? Women. Up until the early aughts, wine shops would be narrow, big shelves, clustered. Only one person at most could actually get through those aisles. It was chaotic. Women hated that claustrophobic largely because you couldn't get away from the butt brush. And this is something that grocery stores have known for decades, that women will shop longer if they're not messed with. Basic stuff. It took a lot. Now, I was in a team that helped design these, and we just stole everything from grocery stores and saw how they treated their customers. I always, instead of designing it for my height, like, 6 foot tall dude, we actually designed it for people, women, someone who's actually like more likely going to be 5'6". Have all the shelving at their height, so that they can see everything. They feel comfortable, so everything makes them comfortable wanting to stay there longer, and the longer they stay, then other things will start taking shape. For instance, those social influence, having our wine people there making some recommendations when they ask. Prestige bias, having wines like clearly set apart as being our prestige line, having them at a certain place, right? Higher up rather than lower down. And these are all, guess what? All of these at higher markups. So we're making more profit on these because it's a business. We're utilizing psychology, basic psychology, to convince you, to calm you down, allow you to explore, and the things you're exploring more likely are going to be things we want you to buy. Yeah, evil. So I do it both ways. Yeah, I do it both ways. Yeah, good and bad. Guess which one pays me more, by the way. So just FYI. Yeah. Oh boy. I didn't know we were going to talk about. I was going that way, but all right.
Okay. Hopefully this was helpful to take with you when you're tasting wine at home or you're visiting a winery or wine shop.
And if you're curious, like if you actually like something, like if you have an expensive bottle, well, get yourself 2 mason jars, get a wine, you like, and then this expensive wine. 4 of them in each mason jar, and then put them to the side for an hour. So that way you forget which one's which. Then come back. You could, of course, you could just drink from the mason jar, but, pour one glass in the other and try them side by side. Do you really like that wine? Is it good? It'll give you a better idea when you're not looking at that big, shiny label with a big fancy name on it. Because honestly, it's one of the things I've always done. And I remember I did this with you many, many years ago when we were at a trade tasting. And it's very clear some things are just pure marketing. They're good, but they're not as good as the price point would imply. But yes, So there you go. Yeah. And folks, if you like this, like and subscribe. Please, it does so much good for us. If you like this, subscribe. Also, if you want more, if you want some real education in wine, the National Wine School is the only place you can really go. That's at wineschool.us. Highly recommend it. We're a part of it. Our ideas about psychology and how to actually give you an authentic wine experience, actually the core, the basis, the foundation of all their programming.
Absolutely, Keith. And folks, if you happen to be in the Philadelphia area, please do stop by the Wine School of Philadelphia and see us in action in our full-time jobs. We really appreciate your listening.
Absolutely. Cheers, folks. And before you go, next episode, we're going to jump into history, wine history. We're going to go into everyone's happiest, most fun time, first of all, The medieval era. I mean, who doesn't love the medieval era
Who
for
doesn't
wine?
love that?
But of course.
Fantastic.
Cheers.